A very good evening to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Taiwan Jabela, but I'm not hosting tonight's show. I am simply introducing a recording between my colleague Kenya Kamboe and former Swapo Secretary General Pendukeni Iivula-Ithana, which was conducted at Omtsegonjaba village in Oshkoto region this week, in light of the death of President Hage Geingob. Here's the show.
On behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, I extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the former First Lady, Madam Hage Geingob, the bereaved family, the relatives, friends, and the entire Namibian nation on the sudden passing of our beloved President, His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob. His leadership, resilience, and firm belief in systems, institutions, and processes will forever be kept and cherished in our hearts, as well as his belief in unity, inclusivity, and equality. I, on behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, join the rest of the nation in mourning the passing of our distinguished leader. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you very much for making time for us, Honorable Iivula-Ithana. We have come to you so you can just give us your reaction to the passing of the late President Hage Geingob.
Well, death is a very unusual occurrence. Every time you hear somebody has passed on, it touches you as a human being deeply. It can happen yesterday, you heard of a death of another person, same reaction.
Yes.
Same reaction. We never get used to the demise of fellow human beings. His Excellency, the late President, did not make his illness a secret. The nation was kept informed, but then I was truly so hopeful that he was going to get the best treatment and he was going to recover. Because cancer nowadays, it kills, but there are instances where, it gets arrested.
Yes.
And you know, Comrade Hage was such a jovial person, full of life. I don't know when else did he really go so down for people to see that he was really sick. In my eyes, he was always a healthy person.
Yes.
You know, the photo of him or this video of him getting out of the car and started driving and, and I keep asking myself, when did he really get so sick that he eventually has to give up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe before we talk about how you remember him, can you just tell us when was your first encounter? When did you first meet the late President?
I met Comrade Hage. Allow me to refer to him as Comrade Hage and at some point His Excellency.
Yes.
Because I got to know Comrade Hage in 1976.
Okay.
The party Swapo then, the liberation movement, had organized to establish a training institution for public administration
Yes.
in Lusaka, Zambia. And they organized it through the United Nations and arranged everything, the tutors, the lecturers, the director. And then we were just called upon as youngsters,
Yes.
you know. I know I was even overqualified.
Okay.
Yeah, having left Oshigambo High School in Form 4, I was university material. So I did not even write an entrance test like all others. So I was chosen as one of the intakes of the UN Institute for Namibia in Lusaka. I was recruited from Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah, so I flew in and found all this stuff at the UN Institute for Namibia. Among them was now our director,
Okay.
Comrade Hage Geingob. A young man, handsome, tall, jovial.
Let me ask you, how was the hairstyle looking like? The hairstyle, if you remember.
No, he never used to have a funny hairstyle. It was just normal afro.
Okay.
Yeah, not very bushy,
Yes.
but nicely trimmed.
Okay.
And the beards black, nicely trimmed. You know, Hage was such a neat person. And I'm telling you the truth, if there was anything that intrigued the students was his perfume.
Okay.
Whenever he passed through a corridor, you would know.
Yes.
Comrade Hage, Comrade Director had passed here.
Okay.
He will leave that,
Scent.
you know, that scent there. So I arrived days before the inauguration of the institute, and the institute was inaugurated. I became a student, and our director was there. He used to engage us so much, particularly on the Swapo Constitution.
Okay.
Yeah. He is the first person who introduced to me and those of my cohorts
Yes.
the Swapo Constitution. We were learning it through him.
Okay.
Yeah, to such an extent that we had a play. In 1978, there was a youth conference in Havana, Cuba.
Yes.
Then he took us through the Constitution to a tonnier kind of, but based on the Swapo Constitution.
Okay.
So we went to play that in Cuba at the youth festival, the Festival of Youth. And every student at the institute liked the director. And he was not reserved.
Yes.
His house was a house of everybody, particularly on Fridays.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to enjoy what they called a go down.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go down. Friday, some drinks and dance and yeah. So he was such a loving person, and we got so attached to him to such an extent that as years went by, I got married, and my first husband
Yes.
was a lecturer at the UN Institute.
Okay.
And yeah, so in that relationship, I became part of, them,
the circle.
kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. To such an extent that really the relationship, our relationship, became very, very close. Very, very close. To such an extent that even when I came home,
Yes.
the time we came home, a leader that I knew better
Yes.
was Hage Geingob.
Okay.
And some of you are young,
Yes.
that you cannot recall. You know, I stood by Hage through thick and thin,
Yes.
in the 90s.
Yes.
And he also was very, very, committed to kind of to that relationship. Because my second husband
Yes.
also taught with him.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a registrar
Yes.
of the UN Institute for Namibia, Mr. Ithana. And his relationship with Joe
Yes.
had come a long way because both of them studied in America.
Okay.
So, so there was no break in between,
In your relationship.
in the relationship. And politically, we became very, very close. So, what I relish
Yes.
about our relationship was that Hage was such a genuine, honest person. At that time.
Okay.
And I trusted him, and I could stand by him to such an extent that at the first Congress, or no, the second Congress, when he wanted to, is it second or first? He stood for the position, he wanted to stand for the position of Vice President. I was one of his supporters, strong supporters. I'm the one who motivated for him to stand for
Yes.
the position. And when I hear later that people were even saying, I call Comrade Hage Kwankara, it pained me a lot because that was a lie. I knew Hage for years,
Yes.
and I knew which tribe he was from.
Yes.
So how all of a sudden now I must,
Be tribal.
be tribal? Yeah? I could have become tribal all the way. Yeah. So he was a comrade,
Yes.
and that's what I knew up to a certain time.
Okay. No, from your lecturer back in 1976. So he ascended into the party. Both of you were now later in the party structures. You were also in cabinet. So tell me, when was the first time you were able to lead?
I started leading.
Leading with him, like together, you are working together as leaders.
Yeah. Yes. I came from the military background.
Yes.
And I thought I was not really a politician as such, but then I was catapulted in a position that turned me into a politician. At the Congress of Swapo Women's Council in 1980,
Yes.
December, January 1979, 1980.
Yes.
I got elected as secretary for Swapo Women's Council. And according to the party constitution, the secretaries of the wings automatically become members of the Central Committee.
Okay.
Yeah. So I became a member through that. And Comrade Hage, I don't know when he became also a member of the Central Committee.
Yes.
So we
That's where you met.
Yeah, that's why we met at leadership
okay.
level. Yeah, and all along we have been now, colleagues. I was young.
Yes.
Yeah, and I really looked upon them, my seniors,
Yes.
as mentors. And Hage played that role of a mentor to me. I learned a lot from him, just like I've learned a lot also from people like Comrade Nuyoma
Yes.
and others. I so much looked upon them for guidance until I remember talking to myself until the formation of RDP.
Okay.
When I realized that there was nobody to guide me anymore.
Okay.
I have to make a decision.
Yes.
Yeah, and for others also to learn from me. All those years, I was always looking upon the seniors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you help me? Now it was you now.
Yeah.
You must help now.
I must help the people.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hage had played a role in the formation of who I became as a politician.
Okay. Now, when you talk about qualities, obviously people have qualities. Some have good listening skills, some have more good manipulation skills. Especially in politics, you must be able to manipulate people and also convince people. So what are some of those skills that you believe the late president had, and then you're like, no, I'm going to emulate, I want to be, I want to talk like this, I want to walk like this. What's that you wanted to about him? Yes.
I've mentioned it as a by the way issue.
Yes.
I talked about honesty.
Yes.
One thing I had learned from him was being honest and being genuine and being able to confront a situation the way it is. That time, I did not see manipulation
Yes.
in him. I did not see any maneuvering in him. Because the situation we lived under,
Yes.
the liberation struggle, you are all in exile, wanting the country to become independent and return home. Many people really were focusing on that alone.
Okay.
And those are some of the qualities that I got from him. And Hage showed bravery also.
Yes.
While others, would hesitate to confront a certain situation, he was not that type. And that's why I think Comrade Nuyoma had selected him to lead the team that came home to bring the leadership home on the 18th of June, 1989. He was physically fit,
Yes.
tall, and and he commanded authority.
Okay.
Yeah, so his appearance always carried that authority. Yeah.
We've come to know. Talk about the voice. Some of us, the young ones, tell us about the voice now.
Yes.
Some of us, we came to see, okay, a big big voice.
Yeah.
Was that the voice he had since 1976?
Yeah,
Or?
ever since I met him,
Yes.
he had that voice, but he also got to know
Yes.
that his voice was adding to the aura.
Yes.
And sometimes when he wanted to harass or, you know,
Yes.
then he would make it even thicker.
Yes.
And I realize many of the times
Yes.
he didn't mean to, he was not angry, but
Yes.
he wanted just to
show authority.
Yeah, to show authority or to get you out of your normal situation. Yeah, to frighten you a little bit.
Okay. I'll ask you now to think deep now. In terms of, I want just that one memory, like an encounter, not an encounter, but a memory that will stick with you. Even if you have to close your eyes now and like, this is the day that I won't forget. This is what the late president said to me or did for me and all that. What is that one memory that you will always cherish for the rest of your life? There could be many, but...
Yeah, you know, we had so many incidences.
Yes.
I have many memories of Hage, me and him. He had rescued me,
Okay.
politically speaking, on some of the things that I might not even tell
Disclose,
here.
yes, yes.
Yeah, but he was one of those who could stand for the truth.
Yes.
And say, this one, I think you explain to me, why do you believe
Yes.
that this is black? You must tell me, what is it? He was that type.
And let's talk about being frank now. Was he a frank person? Like, if something is wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And it was not just from his side.
Yes.
I remember one incident that I'm not going to tell.
Okay.
Yeah, others may recall what
Yes,
it is.
yes.
Who know what
Okay.
happened. There was something he did
Yes.
that I did not quite agree with.
Okay.
And I was not in Zambia, where we were based. I was on secondment to Ethiopia. And when I got the news of what had happened, I wrote him a letter. A very, very strong worded letter.
Yes.
He didn't like it. And I stood by
Right.
it. Others also felt maybe I was too young to have, said what I said. But I realized also that out of that letter,
Yes.
he now got to respect me more. Yeah.
Okay.
That I could stand up for the injustice and say this cannot be done this way.
Earlier you mentioned that the late president was a very brave man. 1989, first elections, from there, new formations, political parties were formed and all that. And in the structures that were there, did they ever show some kind of, any fear that no, this political party might, or any outside influence? Was he always, I know you said he's brave, but was there a time where you felt like no, he was afraid of something?
You know, when we returned home, after some years, we melted into society.
Yes.
And the influence became too many, to such an extent that you would sit down and ask yourself, is it who this person is supposed to be? and we drifted apart.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. And maybe it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be because there we were singing one song.
Yes.
Singing from the same hymn, same song. Here we sing so many songs from different hymn books. And therefore, and the distance also can create misunderstandings and misreading of situations and all these kind of things. So, yeah. So condolences to everybody. Let's mourn his departure as we mourn the departure of others. And I wish that his soul rest in peace.
Ithana, thank you very much for making time for us. We appreciate the time. Thank you.
you.
Right.